Hello everyone, I am Miss Melanie G. Adorable, your mathematics teacher. What we are going to learn today is about permutations. A permutation is an arrangement of objects in a specific order, and we have to remember that in permutation, order matters. Today, we will learn four types of permutations, and we will start with the first one, the permutation of n objects taken all at a time, which is denoted by the permutation of n taken n, which is equal to n factorial. So students, I know that you are confused of the factorial symbol. Ano ba yung factorial symbol? Yan yung symbol na parang exclamation point. Okay, that is the factorial symbol. So ano ba yung factorial symbol? Ano ba yung essence niya? First, we have to know that the factorial function with this symbol says that you have to multiply all whole numbers from our chosen number down to 1. For example, if we have 4 factorial, that means that we are going to multiply from 4 until 1 pababa. Okay? From 4 pababa until 1. So we have 4 times 3 times 2 times 1, which is equal to 24. 7 factorial naman, that's 7 pababa until 1. So we have 7 times 6 times 5 times 4 times 3 times 2 times 1, which is equal to 5,040. Okay, and we also have 1 factorial. So obviously that is equal to 1. So wag niyong kakalimutan yung factorial symbol ha. That is very, very important. Now, let us try one example. Kanina, nabanggit ko na yung permutation of objects taken all at a time. That is our first type of permutation. And that is the permutation of n taken n, which is equal to n factorial. Okay? So, the first example is, how many ways can you arrange 3 people for a picture? So, when you solve a certain problem regarding permutation, isipin nyo muna kung lahat ba ng objects or lahat ng tao is supposed to be arranged. In this problem, since you are using all 3 people, so meaning dun tayo sa first type of permutation, which is, ang kanyang formula is n factorial. So that's why, since there are 3 people, so we will going to use 3 factorial, so that's 3 times 2 times 1, which is equal to 6. So therefore, there are 6 arrangements for 3 people for a picture. Since sinabi ko na kanina, since the 3 of the people has to be arranged for a picture, so we are going to use n factorial. So, since tatlong tao man, so we have 3 factorial, which is equal to 3 times 2 times 1, which is equal to 6. Now, how about this example? Suppose a business owner has a choice of 5 locations in which to establish her business. She decides to rank them from best to least according to certain criteria. So, how many different ways can she rank them? Now, first, you have to ask yourself, i-rank niya ba yung lahat ng 5 locations or hindi lahat? Okay? But since she is going to rank all of the 5 locations, again, you are going to use the first type of permutation, which is the permutation of n objects taken all at a time, or permutation of n taken n, which is equal to n factorial. Now, since there are 5 locations, so we will going to use 5 factorial. So that is 5 times 4 times 3 times 2 times 1, which is equal to 120. So therefore, there are 120 different ways in which she can rank the 5 locations. So what if she only wanted to rank the top 3, not all 5? Anong gagawin mo? So what you're going to do is multiply from 5 until yung third number. 5 times 4 times 3, which is equal to 60. So note that there is no longer a factorial problem because you don't rank all of them. Okay? Pag hindi lahat ang i-rank mo, do not use the n factorial. Now, the previous example will lead to the second type of permutation, which is the permutation of n objects taken r at a time. Ano bang ibig sabihin nito? For example, you have 5 objects, or let's say 5 books, and then you are going to arrange the books by 3. Okay? Yung tatlo lang i-arrange mo. So that is when you are going to use the permutation of n objects taken r at a time. Bakit? Kasi hindi mo naman ginamit or hindi mo naman in-arrange lahat-lahat. Just a few. Okay? So now, you are just going to use the permutation of n taken r, which is equal to n factorial over n minus r factorial. Remember that r is less than n. Mas malaki si n compared kay r. Okay? Now, in the formula of permutation of n taken r, n is the total number of objects. And r is the number of objects that you need. Okay? Sabi ko kanina, for example, meron kang 5 books and you will just arrange the 3. So, the n now is 5 and the r is 3. Remember, mas malaki always ang value ni n compared kay r. Now, we have n objects taken r at a time. Now, remember yung problem natin a while ago? The businesswoman who only wanted to rank the top 3 out of 5 places, in which our answer earlier is 60. So, this is how it is solved. So, we have permutation of 5 taken 3, which is equal to 5 factorial over 5 minus 3 factorial. So, simplify the denominator. 5 minus 3 is equal to 2 factorial. If you use your calculator, 5 factorial is equal to 120, and 2 factorial, which is equal to 2 times 1, is equal to 2. Simplify 120 divided by 2, that is equal to 60. Let's have another example. In how many ways can a class of 45 students elect vice president, secretary, treasurer, and an auditor if everyone is qualified to any position? So in our example, our n is equal to 45 since there are 45 students in that class. And r is equal to 5, representing the 5 positions that are to be elected. So you're going to use the second type of permutation, the permutation of n taken r, which is equal to n factorial over n minus r factorial. Now, when we substitute the value of n and r, we will get 45 factorial over 45 minus 5 factorial. So once you are done with that, the first thing that you have to do is to simplify the denominator. 45 minus 5 is equal to 40 factorial. Now, since alam natin that 45 factorial is really a huge number, right? If we express that into a factorial function. So, para ma-simplify natin, since 40 factorial is just equal to 40 times 39 times 38 until 1, we could just simplify 45 factorial and express it into 45 times 44 times 43 times 42 times 41 times 40 factorial. So, simplify mo na lang. Wag na until 1. Kasi, the same lang din naman. In that way, mas madali because you can just cancel 40 factorial in the numerator and the 40 factorial in the denominator. Okay? Now, it will be much easier to multiply 45, 44, 43, 42, and 41, in which you will get 146,611,080 ways. Okay? By the way, merong clerical error dito sa ating sa ating number dito sa kakabila. that is supposedly 41 instead of 40. Now let us move to our third type of permutation, which is circular permutation. From the word itself, circle. So bakit ba siya tinawag na circular permutation? Because we are dealing with permutation of objects arranged in a circle. Okay? And how do we get the number of permutations? We are going to use the formula n minus 1 factorial. So for example, in how many ways can 6 choir members be seated around a circular table with 6 chairs? So obviously our n is equal to 6. So we have to substitute it in the formula. We have 6 minus 1. So the permutation is equal to 5 factorial, in which we will get 120. How did we get 120? 5 factorial is equal to 5 times 4 times 3 times 2 times 1. Now class, two things that you have to remember is that the 0 factorial is equal to 1. And the value of 1 factorial is equal to 1. Now let's go to our last type of permutation, the distinguishable permutations, in which the number of distinguishable permutations of n objects when p are alike, q are alike, r are alike, and so on is given by p is equal to n factorial over p factorial times q factorial times r factorial, and so on. So when are you going to use the distinguishable permutation? Okay? Gagamitin mo yan when you are going to arrange objects in which some objects are alike. Okay? For example, in this problem, find the permutations of the word Mississippi. As you can see, some of the letters are repetitive, such as I, S, P, right? So, recalling our formula, we have n factorial over p factorial times q factorial times r factorial, and so on. Okay? Since we have 11 letters from the word Mississippi, so therefore our n is equal to 11. So we have 11 factorial in our numerator. Now, let us examine all the letters of the word Mississippi. Let's try to list down ilan ba lahat. First, we have M. There is only one M, so we have 1 factorial times I. How many I's do we have? We have 4, right? So multiplied by 4 factorial. S. How many S in the word Mississippi? There are 4. So we have multiply again with another 4 factorial. Next, we have P. How many P's in our word Mississippi? There are 2. So times 2 factorial. Okay? So by simplifying, you will have 34,650. Remember class, you can eliminate the 1 factorial because they are equal to 1. Let's have another example for the distinguishable permutation. The librarian asks you to arrange books on a shelf. There are 5 identical math books, 7 identical science books, and 4 identical English books. So in how many ways can you arrange them? Now, since there are a total of 16 books, therefore our n is equal to 16 because 5 plus 7 plus 4 is equal to 16. Now, we will put that one in our numerator. So we have 16 factorial. For our denominator, we are going to multiply the objects that are alike. So since there are 5 mathematics books, so we have 5 factorial times 7 identical science books, so we have times 7 factorial, and lastly 4 factorial for the 4 identical English books. Now, if you simplify that one, you will get 1,441,440 ways in which you can arrange the 16 books. Okay? So that sums up our discussion for the four types of permutations. And class, I hope that you really learned something from our class. See you next time!